You rejoin us at the Holy Trinity Cathedral overlooking the town of Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, the Soviet capital of rock and roll. The very first authorized rock concert in all of the Soviet Union was held here. This place has a lot of history, and it's where we are going to be spending some time. But we are excited to explore this place. We just got in and we've had like a tiny little teeny taste of it, and it has such a unique and interesting feeling. We're both like really excited to explore Tbilisi.
Yeah.
And it starts here. It starts here at the Holy Trinity Church. Look at this beauty. Maybe the National Church of Georgia. I don't know. I didn't look anything up first.
I am made to be free.
I've never seen a holy water dispenser before. Burst into flames.
We found a stairway going down that wasn't blocked off, but then the stairway going up was. Well, I don't know. Where are we going? We found a door. And it keeps going lower. All right, let's check out in here first. It smells like a lot of incense. I think I see like fire burning. Interesting. Yeah, we got a hidden secret underground church here. So it is crypts. We found the crypts down here. But like, look at, it's empty, man. There's nobody else in here. It's just us. Just us and Jesus. Quite a grand church. Quite a fancy church. This has to be like the state church of Georgia. Oh, got a tour group. There we go. We've met back up with people. Who was this? What was it? What did they do? I don't know. There's no information. It's not for us. It's not for tourists. Maybe it was St. George himself. Just walking along this underpass here, crossing the river. This city is covered in art from absolute top to bottom. Whether it's street art, graffiti kind of stuff, or photography, or statues, or everything. The city is inundated with art. More than any city I've ever seen.
We are just at Liberty/Freedom Square right now, waiting for a free walking tour to start.
There's a bunch of tourists everywhere and nobody knows where to go or who the guy is. Wait.
Oh, I think I see him.
He looks like a walking tour guy.
Yeah.
and the crowd begins to converge.
Yeah. It's like zombies.
Okay,
just
hold on.
like
Tourists look like tourists, but walking tour people look like walking tour people.
Yeah.
You know, you can pick tourists out of a crowd.
they always have the like messenger bag,
to
show pictures, you know?
And they always have like a look about them.
Yeah.
Anyways,
okay, let's go meet him.
This is clearly them. At the base of this clock tower, a little bit into the walking tour here. He's very good. He's a very good tour guide. He's very like peppy and energetic. There he is.
They're building with a glass dome.
Our walking tour ends here at the sulfur baths, which we are going to enjoy in a few days. And the walking tour was great. The guy was super enthusiastic and passionate about the history here.
Eccentric,
he was very clear, funny.
Good whistler.
Yeah.
Very good. Just as we were walking along, he'd be like whistling away. Very good whistler.
It was really, really good. And yeah, highly recommend the free walking tours here in Tbilisi.
We discovered here in Tbilisi, this underground market. Maidan Bazaar, the underground bazaar. It's like a cha-cha and wine, magnets and postcards. clothing. This, like, the ceiling's all like super interesting.
Yeah, like all
Just like kind of a fun little place. There's antiques up and above, and you can buy your drinking horns here. Swords, if you need a sword, you can buy a sword here. Got little instruments. Stacy plays the tune. Like when Metallica played in Moscow. What a concert. A statue of a bike with two fronts going in different directions. Maybe my interpretation of this art piece represents Tbilisi and Georgia as a whole, sandwiched between Europe and sort of the Russian sphere of influences. Maybe this two-headed bike means exactly that. It's a squash court. Let's fucking go. Sick. I was worried we weren't gonna see him again.
Who are you?
Let's fucking go, bud. Another morning in the artsy streets of Tbilisi. We're under a bridge covered in art, totally coated in art, like so much of this city. We're in the Reich Park here by the Peace Bridge, the famous Peace Bridge. We found some crazy structure. We don't know what it is. We asked the security guy, what is this? It's wrapped all around us. And he said it was a cinema. But I don't understand how it's a cinema. I don't get it.
We are up on the balcony of Queen Dadiani's Palace. It's like a free overlook, and there's a church up here. Take your pictures. All the history.
Make something up. Just make it up.
This was a palace, but for Queen Dadiani.
She ruled the Garmrangian Empire.
Oh my god.
From 300 AD to yesterday, actually. Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, home to about 1 million people, is a very interesting city. This city is as old as Georgia itself, actually older technically. I think the first kingdom of Georgia was established about 1,000 years ago, 11 or 1,200 years ago, and Tbilisi has been around since then. Georgia is a very old country. Wine was invented here 8,000 years ago, and so a lot of history has gone through cities like Tbilisi. I say all this to say that Tbilisi feels like it. Tbilisi seems to be a city torn between worlds. It's this super eclectic mix of old and new, of European influence and of Russian influence, of its own influence. It was one of the few countries during the Soviet Union that didn't have a lot of its language and culture like erased. The best way that we've described it is post-Soviet hipster grunge punk. I think that that's a very apt way of describing the city, because as you're walking around, it's a modern city, and it has so much graffiti everywhere, but almost in a way that adds to the city. It doesn't make it feel like kind of dirty or sketchy. It makes it feel like it belongs in the city. It's a very artistic city, but the best part is that it feels the way it feels in a very authentic way. It doesn't have an image of itself that it's trying to maybe purport. Talking with people living here in Georgia, both Georgian and foreigner, that now call Tbilisi home, you see that maybe Georgia's at an inflection point in its recent history. Georgia was invaded by Russia in 2008, and so you have a lot of that sentiment, that sort of pro-Georgia, anti-Russian sentiment following the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022. But then because of the proximity and the history, you do also have a lot of Russian influence. A lot of people you hear speaking Russian. There's a lot of Russians here. We've been in some restaurants that are very, like, even the menu says, like, we don't speak Russian here, like, go to hell. Very anti-Russia, very anti-Putin. A big one as it's manifesting is in politics right now. A lot of people that we talk to see a lot of the pro-Russian or similar laws are being passed here in Georgia right now, and they're very opposed to it. So it's like the government is sort of leaning away from sort of European influence, of European culture, and is leaning more into the Eastern or Russian economic or political influence. Whereas the people are still very pro-European. You see the European Union flag everywhere, and there's a lot of pro-Europe sentiment in the people, and the government is sort of going in the other direction right now. And so everybody that we've talked to has really negative things to say about the government here, which is interesting, and it really lends to exactly what we kind of have been feeling about Tbilisi and Georgia sort of being torn between these worlds. And it just makes for a very interesting place to visit.
We are now walking across the Peace Bridge.
Which the internet has told us, some people call it the Ultramax Bridge because it looks like a feminine hygiene product.
Yes. And it's the only pedestrian bridge in town. It was designed by an Italian architect. It's quite neat.
Built in 2008. It's just shocking that it's the only pedestrian-only bridge in the whole city.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We've just come to the Botanical Gardens here in Tbilisi. Unfortunately, a lot of it does seem closed right now, though. But we'll explore, see what we can see. We're right below the fortress, which is kind of cool. I think there's like a waterfall and stuff we might be able to check out. So the Botanical Gardens has a few different entrances and exits. So we hiked all the way to the top, and it actually exits to the Mother of Georgia.
Which we didn't think we were gonna see because I was like, eh.
It's too high up.
Yeah, we were gonna walk all the way up here, but then we did anyways back.
Yeah, it's like a big metal statue overlooking the city. Isn't this an amazing view?
We just found this like super gorgeous viewpoint just by chance as we were leaving, and we're just up here appreciating. Georgia's been really nice. We've really enjoyed Georgia so far. I'm really glad we came. We almost didn't come, almost didn't care about Georgia. I'm very glad we're in Georgia. It's been very wonderful, very appreciative. It's a nice place to take a minute, think about how lucky we are to be here. Just here on the other side of the world, traveling around, enjoying. We're really lucky. It's a nice place to feel lucky. There's a couple different ways to get up to Matsuminda Park. Take the funicular. I think there's a gondola that goes up it. I don't think it's running. Or you take the bus. We're coming out of the Botanical Gardens along the top of the ridge, and we just like hit navigate, and one bus could take us for one lorry all the way here. So we did, we hopped on, easy peasy, so easy, except we got off like way too many stops early because Google Maps just was like, oh yeah, here's good. But we're like a kilometer away, so we're walking. And it's not a terrible walk, it's easy.
It's flat.
It's flat, it's easy, it's slightly downhill even. But yeah, the bus driver and the other like tourists on the bus were like looking at us. We probably made them second guess. Are we like, fuck, are we going to the wrong place? Like, well, where are they going? It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
We have entered the back of the park, I think. And we're gonna ride this thing. Bing, bing, bing.
You need 4 people to do it. So we found a bench. We're not gonna spend all day. I don't care that much.
It's so not busy that you need to find strangers
people for them to run the ride.
To ride the rides, yeah.
We seem to have acquired enough of a crowd that we can do it. It's 26 lari or $13 total, including the card for both of us. It's like $6 each, Canadian. All right, okay, let's go. It's so bright. Front of the class, couple of nerds. So that was quick. It's a good roller coaster because it has like a full proper flip and 2 corkscrews, but a lot of times your roller coasters will have a little bit of build up. This one just cut right to the chase. It's like you went up and it was like, okay, time for a flip, 1 turn, and immediate 2 corkscrews, and then you're done.
And the what do you call this?
The seats did not, it like, they got caught by the seatbelt. No, it didn't like hold you down. I was like, anyways, it was kind of sketch as far as the safety shoulder things went.
We survived.
But we're so brave. We're so brave. We survived the Tbilisi roller coaster.
I feel a little woozy.
Oh, good. Now she's sick. Now she's sick. Got our little village we're gonna walk through here. Yeah. I didn't expect this randomly at the top of the hill. So the TV tower, I thought it was like kind of more of like a park, but it's like an amusement park. With so much Soviet architecture being demolished through the previous Soviet states, just due to a lot of the pain and suffering caused, Soviet brutalist architecture is becoming harder and harder to find. Well, one of Tbilisi's best examples of old Soviet brutalist architecture, maybe its most pronounced example, is called the Chronicles of Georgia. It's a statue that was started in 1985 and apparently never finished, but it's supposed to detail and commemorate Georgia's 3,000-year history. That's where we're headed now. We did eventually find our way up here. The Chronicles of Georgia. These pillars stand at 35 meters tall here on top of the hill. On this side is the Tbilisi Reservoir, and on this side here, with Stacy, is what seemingly is endless apartment blocks of just soulless Soviet block housing, which I must say, in today's day and age of glass apartment buildings, everything looks so much the same. These buildings actually, they hold a lot of charm. It's a little dystopian, but that adds to the character of it.
More than
charm. Maybe character, for sure. Fill with character. Charm was definitely the wrong word, because they are dystopian looking. Being up here though, this is a really good example of that Soviet brutalist sort of architecture. And to have it be a monument to Georgia's history and to the history of Christianity in the country, it's quite a nice monument.
It's really neat because every single side of each column has a completely different image. So you can spend a lot of time here just looking at each surface. And they're quite artistic and neat. Like it's very cool. Walking through the monument, it's very imposing with all these like giant faces looking down at you and stuff. This is really cool. It really like feels so big. In the back alleys of Tbilisi, we're in search of another Soviet structure. It is the Bank of Georgia headquarters now. But it used to be the Department of Transportation during the Soviet Union.
One of Tbilisi's most famous brutalist structures.
And it's been a bit of a trek to get there.
One of the interesting things about brutalist architecture, specifically Soviet brutalist architecture, is the manner of construction itself ensures longevity. And I say that because they're built so thick with so much concrete that they, even when they're sort of a symbol of sort of the suffering of the Soviet Union, they're too expensive to demolish. So a lot of cases, these buildings are retained, look at that, because they're too expensive to get rid of. And so they're repurposed, right? So a really good example is you get to keep a really cool, unique building like this. And then an entity like the Bank of Georgia can take it over and have like a really iconic headquarters building. For us as tourists, it's just neat to see architecture like this.
Good morning. We are here in front of the Opera and Ballet Theater because it's part one of Stacy's birthday, and we're going on a wine tour to the Kakheti region, which is east of Tbilisi, and it's like kind of the most famous wine region of Georgia, I believe. So it should be a good day. First stop is a local bakery. It's full of other tour groups. We got to try some goat's cheese. It's the cheese that's in a lot of khachapuri. Now we're waiting to go in and see how they make the local bread. We have now arrived to Signagi, the city of love, and it's also the biggest town in Kakheti here. So we're doing a little walking tour and going to a wine cellar.
It's an old Soviet war memorial for this town.
For World War II.
The Great Patriotic War, according to the Soviet Union. We just had our wine tasting.
We tried 6 wines
and 3 different chachas. It's like a lot, actually. I didn't even finish one of them. I'm just gonna get fucking drunk.
So much.
But other than that, we're kind of here at this very touristy restaurant.
Yeah, just kind of
for lunch. Yeah. But wine was a mix of good and bad. You're just here to have a little bit of wine and get driven around.
I find Georgian wine can be sweeter than
other wines that we've had pretty much anywhere.
Like even the dry is usually not so sweet, but then anything semi-sweet or semi-dry are all
it's like really sweet. Yeah, as far as wine goes.
But I like that. So
yeah, it's because our palates are trash. So we're like, grape juice with vodka in it.
Now we're walking along the wall.
There's a wall that goes all that
way. All the way over there. Oh, I'm tipsy from our cha-cha.
I'll fall down the frickin' stairs. Stop.
Next up on our tour is that we are visiting the Bud Bay Monastery, I believe it's called.
Said perfectly the first time.
Said perfectly the first time. So another name for this monastery is the Saint Nina or Saint Nino Monastery, and that's a very famous saint here in Georgia.
The one who made the famous like downward-facing cross, the grapevine cross they call it.
Tied up with her hair. And her tomb is in the older church here, but this is the newer one.
Billion.
We are at our second wine tasting spot. It was more like legitimate homemade wine. Not quite as good as the winery, but that's okay. It was still really interesting to try. The way traditional Georgian wine is made is that the grapes are crushed and the full grape, like skin, flesh, seeds, juice, go in these clay vats, and then they're buried underground and they ferment for about 6 months, and then they take the juice and move it to another one. So on and so forth, and then all of the skin and flesh and seeds that's left over, that's what they use to make the cha-cha, which is kind of like vodka, essentially. As you saw, we got to dip our own church kala, and then we bought a couple of flavors. This is better than the other ones we've tried because it's very fresh. We have now come to the art palace. It's this old palace that they've turned into an art gallery. It's only 5 lari, so it's gonna be good value no matter what, but it also seems like it's gonna be really nice too.
It's super nice here. Is this the National Gallery of
No,
Georgia?
no, it's just some
it feels like it.
Random small gallery. Well, that place was great. The building itself was beautiful and the art was really cool. It was a good mix of like new and old.
And it was like $2.
Yeah, super, super reasonable.
Maybe like the best value for a place that we've been in a long time.
Yeah, really nice. It was really nice.
We are at Matsuminda here. It's our last Georgian meal in the country. Oh look, here, look. It's eggplants with walnuts. It's our last Georgian meal here in Georgia. We are still here for one more day, but we're going out for Stacey's birthday. And so we're about to tuck into our last Georgia meal. I'm glad we discovered eggplants with walnuts. Hobo gang, what up? It's our final day in Tbilisi. We've got our coffees and we're out doing chores. We're off trying to send postcards in post office boxes that don't exist. And we're off trying to find a printer.
Because it's Sunday and everything's closed.
And print 2 single pages and get somebody to let us pay for it on a Visa card. And then we're going to this, we're going to the sulfur baths. And then out for a very nice dinner because it's Stacy's birthday today. And so a little bit of chores on your birthday is good for you. And then enjoying, and it's our last day. We leave tomorrow morning on the next adventure for us. But that's not part of this video, so mind your own beeswax. This super not sketch looking post box. All right, Stace, put them in. This is proof that we did it. Okay, 1.5 of those are making to their destination.
We are in the sulfur bath now. We got a private room, so we'll give you a little tour. Here's our bath with a shower. Oh, it smells very sulfury in here, but not terribly. This is our private little van. Oh, there's like it's like a waterfall coming down. And then we also have a private washroom, which is nice. It's small, but it's private. That's nice. And then we're gonna have like the traditional scrub, kind of similar to the Turkish bath scrub as well. And they will
Called a kisa. But we're not gonna film it because we go scrub-a-dub.
It's very warm. It's hot.
It's very warm. Okay, now it's my turn. And goodbye.
We have finished in the sulfur bath. I also got a massage, which was wonderful. It's very relaxing.
It is here at the sulfur baths in Tbilisi that we end our time here in Georgia and in Tbilisi. We've been in this country for about a month now, and it's sad to have it be sort of concluding. We've really enjoyed our time in Georgia as a whole. The castle at Akaltsiki being like our welcoming thing.
Yeah.
Heading into Kutaisi and then up into the mountains, which were gorgeous and beautiful, and then coming here to Tbilisi and having it be such an interesting city filled with art, a mix of sort of old and new and modern, and it's been like really enjoyable. If I had one complaint about Georgia, it's that their language is like way too hard. But it's been wonderful, and I hope that Georgia can free itself from the shackles of their seemingly desiringly oppressive government lately. We, like so many other travelers, see that Georgia is sort of Passover. There's not a lot of tourists here. People should want to come here, and Georgia should want people to come here and see it and experience it all, because it's so nice and it's so worth coming to see. And we didn't originally have a plan to come to Georgia, and I'm so glad that we did.
It was a pleasantly good surprise.
It was all her idea. Props to Stacy. So that's it. That's our time in Georgia is done, and our time in Tbilisi is done, and we have a flight out tomorrow morning.